Ending our award show with an award that is very near and dear to many hearts, the Joe Grygny Lifetime Achievement Award. Established to honor Joe Grygny, the founder of IMFA, this award recognizes tireless passion for the advancement of the molded fiber industry through product and process innovation. Joe has dedicated much of his life and career to promoting the benefits of molded fiber products worldwide, and it is IMFA's honor to honor those who continue his legacy. This award is always awarded at the annual conference, but is not awarded every year. Only 8 recipients in our history have received this award, and 3 of those recipients are here today. So if you're in the room, may I ask Joe Grygny, Jim Gale, and Paul Carter to stand. Thank you. To present this very special award this year, please give a warm welcome to Godfrey Sabido, SAP Project Lead and Business Manager Poultry of OmniPack.
When you first meet Gary, you're left with an impression that you can't quite put your finger on, a mix of respect and contemplation, a subtle feeling that you've encountered someone whose presence and time you want to experience again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor of speaking about Gary today, but I must admit, I'm very nervous about this responsibility, not just to list his incredible achievements and accolades, but to do justice and celebrate the character and the man, Gary Frank Visser. He has given me a free pass, saying that nothing I say will scare him. That's quite dangerous, giving me this liberty, the fact that I've known him for nearly 30 years. We could be here for hours, but I'm going to focus on the moments that truly mark Gary as a person, a leader, and whose values and actions have left an indelible mark on everyone he meets. Gary grew up on the south side of the tracks in Amamzantoti, a small coastal town on the east coast of South Africa. His humble beginnings would not be the ideal launch pad for success, but he never saw his limitations. He only saw opportunities. Whether he was surfing, terrorizing the neighborhood on his XT500 motorcycle, growing his hair long, and catching and selling fish to the local hotels, because he demonstrated at an early age that he could thrive without much. His mother, his single mom, raised 4 kids on her own, and whilst money was tight, Gary never thought that he lacked. It was here that, while serving as a waiter, as a cleaner in a restaurant, that he won the heart of his beautiful wife, Kim, and convinced his mother-in-law to look beyond his long hair and his overalls. And look how good that has turned out. 43 years later, 3 beautiful children, Sean, Matthew, and Megan, and 3 delightful grandchildren, Jesse, Bailey, and Natalie. After serving his compulsory 2 years of national service and military service, Gary joined a food factory in Escort, where he began his apprenticeship as an engineer. He went on to qualify at the prestigious Olifants Academy, and he earned the highest accolade as a certified government-ticketed mechanical engineer. He quickly established himself not only as a skilled engineer, but in manufacturing, in operations, in production, and in management, where by the age of 27, he was appointed the youngest ever production manager of a plant of over 1,000 employees, the international paper company Masonite in South Africa. His entrepreneurial spirit, though, never left him. He started a private security firm where he offered services to the hotels in the local majestic Drakensberg Mountains. It might have been his entrepreneurial venture, but I suspect it was a way for him to savor the delights of the local cuisine and beers offered by these hotels. Gary's journey then took him to Mandini, where he was headhunted to join the struggling molded fiber business, DFM, in operations, but a company on its knees. The board recognized his expertise in manufacturing and engineering, but also his management, and asked him to lead the business. At a young age, Gary became the MD. Along with his visionary approach, he made pivotal changes that turned the company around within months. He switched off certain electricity boiler manufacturing. There were certain founders and entrepreneurs that had to leave. And he turned the business into becoming a highly profitable business, securing its market share, but importantly, placing it amongst the top 7 private companies in South Africa's banks outside of public. He won the South African Inner Trophy for innovation, and on the world stage of packaging awards, he won the World Star. This turbulent journey required Gary's clear vision and steady hand, and a leadership, whilst driving, some say demanding excellence, create a culture where everyone felt valued and part of a family. Gary has this unique ability to answer the call on business of the triple bottom line: profit, people, and sustainability. His sincere leadership, where he truly cared and valued his people, he brought out the best in his staff. He made a bold and risky decision early on in those years of this fledgling DFM to offer management shares in the business, and brought us along in the journey of his success, making us equity partners. I have never encountered or met someone who could transition between studying lengthy legal documents and shareholder agreements, interrogating financial balance sheets, poring over production detail, to discussing the intricacies of the wiring of an aircraft's navigation system. But he was always grounded. We had an issue where Mandini, where DFM was located, is in a very remote part of eastern South Africa. But our bankers, our lawyers, our investors, who would arrive in their full suits, dressed up to the T, would meet Gary in his shorts and T-shirt. They were soon won over, where at lunchtime, not getting these elaborate, fancy cuisine lunches, the boardroom table would be covered in newspaper. We would then have what we would call a bunny chow. It's a loaf of bread cut in half. They would pull out the center of the bread. They would stuff it in full of gravy, of curry, and put the bread on top. You were required to roll up your sleeves, take off your jackets and your ties, and eat with your hands. It was the highlight of their trip, and many people would actually make the journey from our bank, our Johannesburg City of Finance, all these kilometers to come to DFM to savor the delights of our cuisine. This is not some warm, fuzzy feeling of growth and development. As Gary's patience, or lack in some matters, may be known. And we may all have stories of Gary's tough love, as he is never afraid to hold people accountable. Often, when with all sincerity he would try to teach me about consistency, control, and freeness, I would see his head tilt forward, I would see his brow knit, his eyes hood, and there would be a glint and a gleam in his eyes, and I knew it was a time for a break, because there was some correction coming my way. But even in those moments, you could see that his intent was always to push you to be your best. It's important for me to share of his deep commitment to people, especially those in need. Gary has a heart for the common man, and it's evident in the hours he devoted to helping those facing financial and emotional hardships, and the major effort he put in to securing their rehabilitation. Often I would find all up many staff, from the forklift drivers to the directors in his office, sharing their personal lives, and Gary genuinely wanting to secure their health and a better life for them. On one occasion, we had an engineer, a fitter, not turning up for work, not highly skilled, but he called in his wife, and within half an hour, he had secured the commitment and the dedication and realized the potential of this fitter. DFM is based in the impoverished region of Mandini, where employment and disease are rampant. There's over 50% unemployment and a high prevalence of disease. It required resources outside of the almost non-existent government and state supported. Gary took it upon himself to help the community. He firstly established a home for abused women and children. He mobilized financial, legal, and social services, and through his relentless efforts, he built a place of safety called the House of Hope. I've seen him charm, I've seen him motivate, and I've seen him cajole councils, municipalities, and businesses to step up to do what they should have been doing long ago. But Gary's influence was never about taking credit. It was about doing the right thing. Once when walking home, and we're on the way to the local tea room or cafe, he encountered a homeless family in the park. We had said, "Oh, here goes Gary." And we continued, and he went over to this family and the gentleman. And very soon, he had a job, he had a roof over his head, and he had food on the table for his children. That was our Gary. Again, Mandini didn't have a high school. Children had to commute once they had finished their primary, long distance to further their schooling. Gary again took personal action. Through his intervention, he established a school that now serves over 1,700 pupils. The school has changed the lives of many young people, giving them opportunities that would have been impossible. Think about the impact this has had then and continues to have on the lives of these families and these communities. This is the heart of Gary. Again, didn't just stop there. Recognizing that staff and families needed places to socialize and rest, he took it upon himself to restore the local sports and social clubs, which were in disrepair. He mobilized businesses to restore the golf course, the swimming pool, the sports field. He started a teen social club for Friday night for the local teenagers to go and hang out, have some takeaways, listen to music, watch a movie. He recognized that his staff now had a place to spend quality time with their families. And Gary understood that creating a balance between work and life was key to their success and the happiness of their families. Guys, I'm not too sure whether you understand the magnitude of this challenge. When you're faced with this social depredation, where government and businesses backed off, the scale was such that nobody could have the will, the energy to actually do something about it. Gary had a responsibility to drive DFM and to secure DFM's future profitably. And yet, he took it upon himself to just individually and daily affect the lives of each of those people. The joy to see a child go to the soccer field and kick balls up in the field, you can't put a price on that. They before had nothing, they had nowhere to go to be able to rest and socialize. We may take it for granted that we go out and we buy a TV, we buy a lounge suite. It was his passion that he would chase debt collectors away from our gate, because selling somebody a 20,000 rand lounge suite who was earning 2,000 rand a month, irresponsible. He made sure that his biggest ambition also was to secure the stability of that employment for those communities. And woe beside any shareholder that wanted to, when we were seeking profit, cut the heads and cut staff costs. He would work relentlessly to find the efficiencies in our cost of sale, drive out waste to secure the future of the employment for people that would never have that opportunity. Gary is an engine fanatic, which has captured his passion and his wallet. He raced cars and he indulged his love of pushing boundaries. His adventurous spirit led him to conquer the tallest mountain in Africa and one of the world's toughest, Mount Kilimanjaro, a physically and grueling challenge. He and Kim often head off with their caravan into the most rural, remote, harsh deserts of Australia, saying he enjoys that. Can't see that. Not too long ago, he achieved his pilot's license. He insists on flying these small pieces of tin through this Australian desert. Again, why? Where's the fun in that? He cycles hundreds of kilometers in the desert, in mountains, in bush. At the mature age of 59 plus, with his son-in-law, continuing to believe that he is insurmountable. Describing a full life must also acknowledge that it hasn't come without some serious hardships and personal life challenges that have crippled many people. He has overcome these without complaining nor bitterness, and with a grace that comes from a God-given deep well of strength and endurance. His response has never been one of anger or self-pity, but of quiet resilience and a profound sense of forgiveness. It is this quiet courage that makes his story not only remarkable, but deeply human. At the heart of Gary's success, beyond his many achievements, his many accolades, is a core set of values that drive everything he does. They are not just words to him. They are the foundation of his every decision, his every effort, and his every relationship. Yes, he does drive hard for success and excellence. Some may even call it perfectionism. But that drive is not rooted in ego. It's born out of a sense of responsibility, a care for people, and a desire to see things and leave things better than he found them. Professionally, Gary's intelligence, his leadership, and his vision have not only guided DFM and IMFA, but have played a critical role in elevating the pulp industry. Alongside trusted allies, he has helped shape it into a globally respected, innovative, and competitive sector, one that isn't just meeting demand, but leading the way in sustainability. This isn't just business for Gary, it's a moral mission, from a genuine concern for our planet and for future generations. His work in sustainability is a testament to his foresight, his care, and his belief in doing the right thing, even when it's not the easy thing. I am a beneficiary of his openness, his transparency, his deep-seated belief, where I now work for James Gallagher, the MD of Omnipack UK. What makes Gary truly stand apart, what's rare and so deeply admirable, is the way he combines intellect with empathy, vision with loyalty, and ambition with a genuine care for others. Beyond his devotion to his family, who he holds with such love and pride, he has tirelessly supported his colleagues, his employees, and his friends. Not just in the boardroom, but in life. those of us fortunate would have gained a truly, fiercely loyal friend for life. Gary, I'm incredibly honored and proud not only to have worked with you, but to be able to call you my friend. A friend who has blessed my life and the life of my family. Even now, my children still ask me, what would Uncle Gary say? A question that is truly indicative of your care and how you've touched the lives of many people. Your legacy is not just in the businesses you built. It's the lives and the communities that you have transformed for the better. Baba Nkulu, Siyabonga Gakulu. You have made a lasting impact, and for that we all thank you. May God bless you, shine His face upon you and your beautiful family, Gary. Congratulations on receiving this well-deserved Lifetime Achiever Award. You are a true example of what this award represents. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay. Another one. We're going to frame these pictures because this is a rare opportunity. You get to see us in jackets and shoes and long pants.
Thanks. I sit and listen to that there. You don't know if you should, when you should laugh, cry, get... Those that have seen me involved in this award ceremony over the last few years, I've done the last two of them, Paul Carter and Ian Anderson, and I get emotional doing this for somebody else, so you just bear with me a bit through this one, yeah. This morning I got up here with my opening remarks and I used my laptop for the first time in my life to stand up here. I'm most comfortable just talking about stuff that I'm comfortable with, and hopefully you see that in tomorrow's MF 101. But when you've got a bit of protocol to follow and you've got to follow something, decide to follow the laptop that decided to crap itself halfway through, and then you got nothing. So anyway, I do have some notes here. I am going to follow through there because there are things that I do need to say and I do need to cover. So I'll probably wander off a little bit there. I just thought, really, before I even get on to what Godfrey had to say, having Preston stand up here from a student competition, and that's the young, and this is the old. And they tell me it's the old because I've been told a few times I've been up for nomination, and I was told I was too young for that. So at least I know I've come of age now. So it's not often that anybody in life will get to sit and listen to what I've just sat and listened to. You normally have to be stone dead in a box, and that's your obituary that somebody is talking to you about. It's like, it's crazy on another level. And another thing I want to say is that when I come to know about this and I pen some notes down here, absolutely zero chance on this planet that man was going to be standing here doing this. Him and I have known each other, worked together for 30 years. And for, the 20, probably 5 or 6 years we did work together, we had different roles. So he was in marketing, and he would go off to the IECs, and I would come here for 22 years. He'd never been to one of these. So this is the last place he's going to pitch up, because it's way too technical for him. He can't change a wheel. He can't put bait on a hook. So this is not his place. So there's no reason for him to be here whatsoever. So honestly, brother, that was... And I have to say, thanks to Ashley and to my great mate, James, for pulling that off. Anyway, greatly honored to receive this Joe Grygny Lifetime Award. Where's Joe sitting? There, the great man sits there. Thank you. To have this award named after him in his honor, he was the first recipient of it. Thank you, Joe. My thanks to the award committee, the board, and the membership for this. This award in its rarity, as you heard from Ashley, only a handful, bestowed upon old fellas who have probably spent too much of their lives volunteering and too much time working. If that's gone before you, this is what you'll land up with. So I'm absolutely honored to have joined this club of those that have gone before me. Really, to be named amongst them, fantastic. On a more serious note, you've heard my journey with pulp and fiber that spans 40 years, the past 32 of it dedicated exclusively to molded fiber. One of the unique privileges that I've had is during this time visiting probably more molded fiber plants than most, and I say that respectfully. It's because I came from deep in Africa. I was never a threat to people back in the day of being involved in their markets, so they would open up to me. Also had a factory doing some fairly unique things in terms of pumping pulp from a clarifier of a paper mill 2 kilometers down the hill. They wanted to come and see how that worked. And of course, we had magnificent game reserves about 2 hours up the road from our factory. So they also wanted to come see that. And they had to reciprocate and let me into their factory. So that really gave me a massive exposure into this industry. I've retired twice and landed back up in the industry again. And I'd like to say, whether I'm walking into a molded fiber manufacturing facility where I get goosebumps and work out why I love this industry, or whether I get back from 60 hours worth of flying, it was a 37-hour trip for me to get here door to door. So I did 27 hours in the air. It's generally a 60-hour round trip. And then I get back and I walk out the front door of my house onto the beach, and I've got a fishing rod, and I think, why the hell did you do that? and this balance and dance of life goes on. And I'm sure it'll keep repeating itself until the third retirement comes along. Just to share what a week like this is for me. It is almost like I had died and gone to heaven, and I just listened to my obituary. Lightheartedly, I get to hear my own obituary. I get to spend a week here with some esteemed friends, with 3 of the 7 people, who have received this award before. The excitement of this conference. On Friday, I'll get to go fishing and have a few beers with those of you that are coming out on the boat with us. Saturday, get to experience a little bit of Miami. And then on Sunday, I get to tick off a bucket list item, and I go with some good mates to Formula One. As you figured, I'm an absolute petrol head, so that's like right up there for me. And yeah, if you're in my shoes, you have to think to yourself, have you maybe died and gone to heaven? So the lifelong journey culminating in this award would not have been possible without the love and support of my wife, Kim. this is where I've got to keep it together. Kim's been absolutely amazing. You know, you think about, from a work point of view, the days of building, I just got to check my mate in the back there. I didn't come to help an ailing company. I started it from scratch. The guys did bring me in, and it was ailing. It ailed like hell for 3 years, I can tell you. but I was there from the first ailing day. And, you know, to support a person through putting up a new facility there when your life and heart and soul's in there, and you've got people asking you, how the hell do you think this is going to survive? Why should we stick around with you? Kim's had an amazing influence on that. 43 wonderful years. We just celebrated our 43rd anniversary a couple of weeks ago. So we're standing by me on that, and standing by me on my absolute passion and support of having more than my fair share of motorcycles and many other things that go on petrol. So really grateful for that. A few individuals who I really need a special acknowledgement along my way. There's a gentleman who would not even know his name's being mentioned, a million miles from here, a chap by the name of Mervyn Juan. He was a cost controller for me in the mill, and a guy that just made me, at a very young age, just believe that there was absolutely no limitation as to what I could do. So thank you, Mervyn. A gentleman by the name of Chris Conradi, whose sage advice over 30 years, incredible. And then I'll have to read this here and see if I can get through it, but if I talk about Godfrey, whose role in my business and private life, and I could raise the right hand and say that this was written before I knew he would even be within 10,000 kilometers of this place, had the single biggest influence in my life, business and private. You get to hear it. Gallagher was going to have to tell you that I said this. Now you get to hear it directly, so thank you. Within the Info family, I've got to thank Ian Anderson and Paul Carter for their unwavering friendship, guidance, and Paul for your tremendous expertise and hours that you've poured into helping me execute so many successful conferences. But beyond the conferences, way beyond. I extend that thanks to Jan. And Jan is here. Friendship and help and support. And lastly, just to acknowledge all of you, the Info community, molded fiber industry. Honestly, the passion, dedication, unmatched. Thanks once again for this incredible recognition. I'm grateful beyond words and look forward to continuing this journey with you. I look forward to a few cold beers and a cognac with Joe right after we close here. Thank you, everybody.